We are back on MorningLine. Thanks for joining us. 737-7587 is the number. This is Scotlund Haisley. He is the founder, director, and he's out in the middle of it all. You're not sitting around in some office.
No,
Trust me, he's in there with the Animal Rescue Corps and taking your phone calls if you want to join in the conversation about, he has some amazing stories to tell about things he's seen, the rescues. And we've got Wayne next. Wayne, good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hi, Wayne. Go ahead.
I want to thank you for doing this show, and I want to thank your guest for all the fantastic work he does.
Thank you, Wayne.
My wife and I are just great animal lovers. Her probably more than me, because she'll go to a neighbor's house and threaten them if they don't bring the dog in from outside. Good
for her.
Well, I mean, I warned her, you're going to get hurt one of these days, but that's just the way she is. But I got a question. What do you do? We had a neighbor, and he had two dogs outside, chained up on a log chain like you chain a log truck down with. And he didn't take care of them. My wife carried food over for him. The neighbor on the other side fed one of them. And we called, I live in Murfreesboro, we called the animal people, and they came out and said, yes, it looks like abuse, but it's nothing we can do. So they just ignored it. Finally, I even called the police. And nothing happened, and both dogs ended up dying.
Yeah.
What do you do when you do the police, you do the animal control, and you can't get anybody to listen?
All right.
And you see the abuse every day.
Yeah, what he describes there is a reality for some, and I guess that's where you can come in. What would you tell him? What could they have done more?
Well, I have 2 points to that response, or to that question. One is, Animal Rescue Corps, we may not, the case may be too small for us to respond to. We could certainly provide direction and assistance. So you can always contact Animal Rescue Corps, and we'll get you to the right place to address this situation. We are fortunate enough to have a few liaisons here in the Tennessee, Nashville area. So we can put our folks to work. They are our eyes and ears on the ground here, and they can get to work in helping individuals such as Wayne. But two is, there's a trend right now where communities are adopting an anti-tethering law. Nashville has recently done that. I don't know about Murfreesboro, but that means that people can no longer keep their dogs on chains as lawn ornaments, just disregarded. And it's a great law. It's a necessary law, and I would hope that law is, if it's not in Murfreesboro now, it will be in the very near future.
Other than that, when you contact law enforcement, like I said, needs to contact your organization, even though you're outside this region where then maybe you have relationships with a lot of law enforcement. Maybe it gets their attention. Look, I understand police have a lot on their plates, and responding to a dog tethered in a yard, if they have to respond to shootings and things like this, are not high on their list of priorities.
They may or may not be, but we continue to establish relationships with local law enforcement, and we are a resource for them as well. And they do use us, and they use us on a regular basis.
Let's go to Jewel. Good morning, Jewel.
Good morning, Nick.
Hi, what's on your mind?
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
And thank you for this gentleman here. God bless him. He's doing the work of the Lord in his own way. Same one that made them critters made us too. And he's talking about the expense it takes to tend to these poor, helpless critters. These people should be fined $10,000 for hoarding and $15,000 for just, make it. That would defer the cost of looking after these animals and discouraging these, if they're mentally ill or not. I mean, surely have to know right from wrong, and what they're doing is wrong. That's obvious. They don't need a mental evaluation for that. They're pitiful. But if you made it a big, steep fine, I have a problem. I have a bunch of kitty cats. I live out here in the country in Hickman County. I drove to Nashville. I leave at 4 o'clock in the morning to be at Animal House in Nashville to get my critters fixed. I've spent hundreds of dollars on them. I've got 3 new babies laying in my bed, and then 3 new babies laying underneath where I keep my firewood. It's cleaned out now. I don't need a fire in a dresser drawer. I need some help out here. I mean, I'm trying to do what I can. I'm on a fixed income. I ain't complaining. I'm glad to help out, but I really need some help with these kitty cats. There's 5 stray dogs that come out here. I had this pet rooster for about 3 years now, and they come up here and killed him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too, pal, and I've called people, but their hands are tied too.
All right. Now we have this individual, and he's in rural Hickman County, and that's what you're talking about. They don't have the resources there. So again, maybe contact your organization.
Absolutely. In Hickman County, we actually did a puppy mill rescue when I was with the Humane Society of the United States back in, well, you covered it, Nick. I think it was 2008. You know, he brought up Animal House. That is a tremendous resource in the Nashville area. Dr. Hurd, Katrina Hurd, does wonderful work and provides low-cost medical care for people in the rescue world. But that's what it takes. It takes an entire community to come together and provide these resources for the animals, and that's what we've been seeing at our emergency animal shelter. Nick, we've had about 30 to 50 volunteers rotate in and out of that shelter on a daily basis since we've been there.
Yeah.
It's been a tremendous spirit.
I assume at the heart of all this problem is the fact that not enough people spay and neuter their dogs, cats, whatever. Is that really
the answer? I mean, that's the answer. There's 3 parts to the answer: spay and neuter your animals, educate the public, and rescue animals. And we've seen, and it seems like it, you know, to many of us, it seems like it's never ending.
I was going to ask you if you think it's getting worse.
I think it's getting better.
Better, okay.
I mean, I've been in this field again for 25 years, and when I started in this field, there were 20 million animals put to death in U.S. shelters on an annual basis.
Think about that. 20 million.
The number now is 3 to 6.
Okay. That's a big change.
It's working.
A big. So the education's coming out there. You think more people spaying and neutering?
Absolutely. Laws just need to progress. We need to get these lawmakers to make better laws, stricter penalties, as the good folks that have been calling in have suggested. But more than anything, it's to continue to educate the public. I mean, Nick, you're doing a tremendous justice here for the animals, because you're getting me and others on the shows talking about these issues. And you know, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do or what to think. All I've got to do is show you. Show you this cruelty.
Yeah, see the
make
pictures.
your own decisions.
Stick around, because we'll give you the contact information as well at the end of the show if you want to learn more about getting involved, adoptions, or how you report these issues to his organization. I think Eddie had a follow-up. I apologize, Eddie. Go ahead. What was your follow-up?
Yeah, I was wanting to ask one other question.
Sure.
That, you know, the little dog that was rescued down in Cheatham County that they said had been used as a bait dog. What in the world is a bait dog?
All right, have you dealt with some of this? This stuff gets into, in my mind, awful. I've heard of some people who are bear hunters that get the dogs that they want to breed to attack the bears, and then they get little puppies or cats, and they put bear urine on them and throw them in the cage to let the dog learn how to attack, so that it knows. I mean, that actually happens, folks. And I'm like, what on earth? I mean, that's like medieval stuff, you know?
People who are profiting from illegal animal abuse, you know, they have no remorse for the animals. They're in it to make money.
They clearly don't perceive them as being living beings somehow, I guess. But bait animals, is it, what
it's when animals are used to make an animal aggressive for fighting. Yeah. And we see it often when we do dog fighting cases.
That was part of the case. Everyone's heard about the Michael Vick case. The dogs that were rescued there, you dealt with 11 of them or so?
So when I used to be the executive director of the Washington Animal Rescue League in Washington, D.C. I built the world's first cageless animal shelter. I built, you know, animals decline when they go into a shelter. When you put an animal in a steel barred cage, they decline emotionally, physically, and
emotionally. It's like a human in jail. That's not a place you're going to last very long.
No, not at all.
Okay.
That works against our mission as Humane Societies and animal shelters. Gotcha. Our mission is to find them permanent living homes, yet we're putting them in an environment where they decline. So it was my goal to create a shelter that set animals and the adopter up for success. To remove that stereotype of dark, dingy, dirty places where animals wait in fear and loneliness until they're put to death. To make it a destination center for the community. I took out the bars. I built glass rooms, running water, natural light flooding the shelter.
Like a big dog run, is that what it's kind of like?
Multiple glass rooms.
Multiple glass rooms.
Giving the illusion of freedom, because steel bar cages create what's called barrier rage or cage rage for both humans and animals.
Yeah.
And it worked. I raised, that was a $6 million campaign to build this shelter. And once it was built right around the time of the Michael Vick case. The district attorney who was in charge of that case knew that the animals were declining in the shelter that they were in Virginia, and asked if we could receive them in our community, into our system, and care for them until the court proceedings were complete. And we did. And we rehabilitated those dogs and watched them turn into the most wonderful pets they could possibly be.
Even though they were trained to fight, you were able to, and there was some very well-written books and articles on this and how they turned out later. But many of them became good pets, safe and not vicious.
Correct. The, dog-fighting dogs are trained to kill other dogs, not humans. And they typically don't show any aggression to humans because they're cared for, or if you want to call it care.
So they look at them as their master,
and so our job in the rehabilitation of these dogs is to remove that aggression. And we've had great success with it, as have many groups throughout the country.
Taking a break on that note, the number 737-7587. It's our final segment. When we come back with our guest, we'll continue our conversation about animal rescues, maybe what you can do to get involved. If you have any questions about this and how it's done, give us a call. We'll be back with our final segment right after this.